Hello, this is Denitra January. Today is currently June 4th, 2018. The time is 11:31 p.m. and I am preparing for my London session, which will begin on June 5th, 2018 at 12 a.m. So I have about 30 minutes before my session actually opens. So I'm currently on the GBP JPY 15-minute chart, and just trying to check it out to see what the current sentiment of the market is. This here is a bearish sentiment. There's lots of red, bearish candlesticks in the market. There's a lot of wicks, which means it's a sign of lots of indecision. The current market looks like it's also bearish. I will take a moment to take a look at my FX to see if there's any fundamental reports that will be released during my trading session. I typically trade from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. and I do not trade fundamentals. So the only report that will be released is the Market Services PMI, which is a median report and will be released at 1:30 a.m. And if there's a report, if I'm still in the market, I'll have to watch out to see what the market does during this time period because I don't trade fundamentals. So moving on to the daily chart. As I move over to the daily chart, I need to identify the highest point on the chart. Now, close this. My lot size is 0.05. I will close this here for a moment so that I can plot the highest point on the chart, which the highest point looks like it was at 156.601. I'll change the color because I have different colors for each session, for each chart. So for the daily chart, I will change this to purple. So this here gives me an indication of what the price action was like at the highest point on the daily chart. And then I'll plot a line here for the lowest point, which is 143.183. This shows that the market this was the lowest point. And this particular chart goes from November 1st, 2017 through June 5th, 2018. The current sentiment on the daily chart is an uptrend. The current trend is an uptrend. But the major trend on the chart, let's see here, is going up, slightly goes downward for a few days. And then it goes up, continues to go upward. So from about November 23rd, 2017 is when it completely shoots out of this, a bit of consolidation, shoots upward, continues to go upward. Then it goes down, takes a dip. So from from January, February 2nd. From February 2nd, it continues to go downward. So from February to March, so about a month, it goes downward. And then it continues to go back up. So I'm going to say that the major trend here is an uptrend. Although it does take a few dips, it does continue to go upward. So the major trend will be an uptrend. And then I'll move over to my hourly chart. And then I'll go offline and label all of my major trends. On the hourly chart, I will also place a line at the highest point on the chart to show the price action on the highest point on the daily chart. which will put it at 146.884 is the highest point. And then the lowest point still is the same as the daily chart. Yes, it has the same low point for the daily chart. And this particular trend, let's see here, this is bearish. And this has, I'm going to say the sentiment on this chart is a bullish sentiment. There's lots of green wicks and kind of moves sideways, but it goes down, it continues to go down. So on May 28th at about 1 o'clock, all the way through May 29th at 2100, it's a downtrend, but then it shoots up. So the major trend is an uptrend. The current market on the daily chart shows that there is a bit of consolidation. But the major trend, I'm going to say that the major trend is an uptrend because the market is moving upward. Moving over to the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute chart looks like the line from the daily, the line from the hourly chart did move over. So we can see that the market hasn't really gone above this in several hours. So on the 15-minute chart, I typically will plot my fib lines. So I need to look for a trend so that I can plot either the lowest point on the chart to go upward to the highest point, or find the highest point and move down to the lowest point. So because the lowest point is here, and I have to take the fib lines from from left to right, this here doesn't reflect the highest point on the chart. So what I'll do is use the highest point, which is here, and move downward to the lowest point. Again, because it has to go from left to right. So plotting my fib line, I will take the fib line there and plot it here to go to the lowest point. And then let's take a moment to see if I should leave it there. I'm looking for several points of connection, which will identify whether or not it's a good point, if it's a good point for the fib line. So on the first one, there's just one there, which will show the lowest point. Then the second line here shows 1, 2, 3 points of connection here. 1, 2, 3. I've got several points of connection there, so that's a good one. Let's see here. There's 1, 2, 3. So that one's good there. This one here gives me roughly maybe about 2. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Let me see if I take it down, if it makes a bit of a difference, if that's better. Because the fib line needs to go to the wick, or body to body, or wick to body. And this one here, I think I like the other one better. Oh no, this is a good one. I'm going to leave it like this, because there's several points where the body of the wick touches the fib line. So I'm going to leave it here so that it will go from body to wick. So I'll save that there. And I will zoom in on the chart. Well, I didn't identify with the major trend here on the 15-minute chart. Let's see here. Or did I? No, I didn't. But the 15-minute chart. Let's see here. It does go up. Goes up, it moves sideways into consolidation, takes a dip, moves up, goes down, and goes down. There's a few hours that it does go down. But this also has, it does continue to rise. So I'm going to say that it's a uptrend, is a major trend. I like to have, let me zoom in on the chart so that I can get a better picture. I like to have no more than 10 pips in between each fib level. And I like to plot it early because I'll change the color as well. I like to plot them early because when the market does respond, when it opens, I don't want to be scrambling trying to figure out whether or not I have enough lines here. There's not a good, unless I put it there, and that one's kind of close. But that's where it did go. So I will place one there. And then I'll place one on here. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 points of connection there. And then I'll place several lines above and several lines below the fib line. Okay, so that's a good line there. This one is pretty close. Let's see if I can find another one. Yeah, that's a better one. The other one was a little bit too close, my preference. And then I'll put this on the top. It's just a few pips away. Okay. So I will zoom in on the chart a bit. Okay, so I've got several points of connection for my fib lines. I've got several points of connection for my support and resistance line. I've identified the major trends on each market. And my technical analysis, I've identified that there's only a fundamental report that will be released during the 1:30 time of my trading session. So now it's time for me to identify my entry point for the chart. And again, I break my sleep so that I could trade. So the main thing is that I need to be out of the bed, which I am. I've listened to my motivational speaking, and I'm alert, I'm awake, and I'm ready to execute my trades. And in order for me to enter the market, I am a trend trader, so I will be looking for a trend. The market here currently shows that there's a bit of consolidation, and between these two levels of fib lines, there's only about 12 pips in between the two lines. So there's not enough, it wasn't large, the distance between the pips wasn't large enough for me to enter into another line. So what I'll do is wait for a defined trend before I enter, or I will look for a breakout of consolidation of about 10 pips. So if it breaks through this fib line here and closes above 146.447, which shows that it's breaking out of consolidation, and I will use RSI as an indicator for me to get into the trade, if to enter into a buy. And then going downward, I will look for a break below this fib line at 146.118 to enter into a sell. And like I said, I'll use RSI as confirmation. I do like to trade based off of price action, so I do like to look to see if there's a lot of pip activity and not just pipette, which will also identify whether or not I'll get into a trade. If there's a definitive trend past this point here, and the market does show that it's a strong volume, I will enter once it breaks 146.228 if there's a trend. And if it breaks above the 146.347, I will enter into a buy. And I will place my take profit no less than 7 pips away. I need to have a minimum of 7 pips in order to enter into the trade. My risk ratio, depending on what the market is like, it will either be a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2. My risk reward, my risk reward will be a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2, and my risk ratio will be 2% per day, and my risk per trade will be a 1%. I will not conduct more than 5 trades per day. And I will go offline for a moment so that I can label my charts. I still have about 12 minutes before the market opens, so I'll have time to label my charts and wait for an opportunity to execute a trade. Okay, I'm back, and there's one more thing I needed to add was that another additional piece to my free trading routine is that I've already started the free conference call, and I'm recording my trade execution, so that when it's time for me to go back to review, I'll have the video to review. And when I execute a trade, I will also do a screenshot with the order number, so that I'll have that as a reference to go back and listen to or to review. I've already checked my FX book to see if there's any reports that are being released. I conducted my technical analysis. I plotted my fib lines. I plotted my support and resistance lines. I'm currently awake, and I'm ready to execute my trades, and I'm now 7 minutes out before my trading session begins. And this concludes my post-trading routine video. Hello, this is Demetra January. Today is June 4th, 2018. It's currently 11:55 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm currently on the GBP JPY daily chart, and I am here to conduct my technical analysis, which has already been done. The current market, the major trend on the market is an uptrend. There's a lot of bearish sentiment, but the market is continuously rising. It does take a dip, and then it rises again, takes a dip, and it's going up again. I've already plotted my lines previously, so they have my support and resistance lines. Moving over to the hourly chart, I've already identified the highest point in the chart and also the lowest point in the chart. The market here it goes into a downturn, but then it continues to rise into an uptrend. And so I'm going to say the major trend is an uptrend. Moving over to the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute chart shows that there is an uptrend. The market does have some bearish sentiment, and is moving sideways here into a bit of consolidation, and then it goes up, takes a dip, and then it continues to rise up into an uptrend. And I'm ready to look for a trading opportunity. Let's see, let me make the chart a little larger so that I can thoroughly see the chart. and I will be looking for a breakout of consolidation to enter into the market. And I'm looking for at least 10 pips above and 10 pips below with a confirmation of RSI if it does break this level of resistance on this level of support. So I'm looking for the price action to be, the current consolidation area is 146.347 and also 146.228. So I'm looking for a breakout of resistance of at least 10 pips to break out of this area of consolidation. I will use RSI as an indicator to give me a complete idea of whether or not it's if it's completely out of consolidation. And then I'll look for a break of this level of support of 146.228. So I'll be looking for a level of 146.118 in order to enter into a sale. If the market does go into a trend, which is either an uptrend or a downtrend, and it does break above this fib level, I will go ahead and enter. If there's lots of pip activity and not just pip etch, my lot size is 0.05, and I will add RSI just so that I can see if it will break. I have about 2 minutes before I enter into the London session. And so this indicator will show me whether or not my plan says that I will only get in to a trade or execute a trade with confirmation of RSI of 45 or below for a sale, or 55 and above for a for a buy. So I will wait to see if the candlestick that will form in less than a minute will actually do that. If it does, then I will enter into the market. So I will go offline and begin to plot, label my chart, and wait to see if this market does, if the next candlestick does develop and form into either an opportunity for a buy or a sale. Okay, I'm back, and the market is now open, and my labels are on my chart. So my risk ratio is 2% per day. My risk ratio is 1% per trade. The current trend is still in consolidation, so I haven't executed a trade, and then I have my buy or sell here. But the price, stop loss, or take profit, I will not enter into a trade the last 5 minutes of the candlestick. That's part of my rule. And I will not enter into a trade that will not yield me a minimum of 7 pips. I don't know what my risk reward will be just yet. It depends on what the price action is, and that will determine if I will do a 1-to-1 risk reward or a 1-to-2 risk reward. I don't know my reason for my entry is just yet. But again, like I stated before, I'm looking for a break above the 146.347 or a break below the 146.228. Looks like it may want to break, but I need to wait for confirmation before I enter. Do have my RSI. Looks like it may break, and it did. So now I need a minimum of 10 pips. So I'm looking for 146.118. It doesn't quite get there. And I'm not sure if I already mentioned this, but I'll do it just in case I didn't. The current market does have one report that will be released during my trading session, which is the Market Services PMI for the United Kingdom. That report will be released at 1:30. I'm not a fundamental trader, so I will have to wait to see what the market is, how the market responds to the medium level report before I enter.